High Plains Technology Center, turning education and training into workplace success.
Oh, back to school, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
High Plains Technology Center, education at the speed of business. School is now in session.
Good morning. This is Katie Shirley, the High Plains Technology Center Marketing Coordinator. With my guests this morning, I've got Jayme and Jesse. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So Jayme and Jesse are our diesel instructors at High Plains, and they are extremely busy right now. Got a lot of exciting stuff coming up that we thought we would talk about. Something new we can dive right into is the High School Barbecue Association cook-offs. So tell us about that.
Texas does a lot of this stuff, and another Chris Kellen thought it'd be kind of cool to start, and we talked about it. He bailed off and did it. Our first cook is today.
And
it's
this
going to
is
be
a regional
be
contest?
like a regional cook, and then what is it? May 11th, I believe, is our state cook, which is at High Plains this year. Kansas was this year is their first year to do it, as well as Oklahoma. So we're just starting.
I thought it was interesting. I looked up on the website the National High School Barbecue Association, and it talked about it being another, like a team activity for those that, it doesn't discriminate, doesn't have to be by athletic skill, gender, academic ability, popularity, etc. So open to any students or group of students in middle school and high school. And then it was just talked about the learning that's involved with it, the experiential learning, and then focusing things like teamwork, leadership, discipline, patience. So another one of those opportunities you're providing your students.
Yeah, and to me, I enjoy it. But a lot of these kids, they don't get exposed to this stuff at home.
Right.
Mom and dad's, our society is where mom and dad's pretty well have to work, both of them, in order to keep everything rolling. And a lot of times the food gets plopped in front of them, or they're there to fend for themselves. So there's a little more to it than what just meets the eye. Taking a day off of school and going and cooking, it's not quite that.
Right. Even just the teamwork and the communication skills, like visiting with their judges and meeting the other students and the other instructors. Because if you think of like a diesel mechanic, you may not always think of the best like communication skills or leadership.
No.
So this is kind of an extra level to kind of exposing them, like you said.
It for me to be able to see the growth from the students. The students hit their junior year most of the time in my class. Well, they have to be a junior, but then I get some seniors, starting for the first time. But to see them mature and to go. Me and Jesse talked about that earlier on the way here. Got a few students that's just complete different kids today than they were when they started, and they don't realize that. But it is for the better. Yeah. So
you've definitely created quite the culture that is pretty awesome, and the word is out, and then you can just tell it's something kids want to be a part of.
Well, I think having Jesse come aboard has been great. The kids interact well with Jesse. Obviously, he does as well. His medium duty stuff, they're kind of into that right now because they're kids, and first thing they want to do is get a diesel pickup and spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And some of them do spend a lot of money, and some of them try to Band-Aid it a lot. But, me and him both do our job because we feel pretty passionate about helping the kids or teaching the kids, the next generation. It's not really always about the money. So
yeah,
and we enjoy it.
So Jesse, this far into the year now, any thoughts of how it's different or any moments that have been rewarding?
Well, I'm going to interrupt before he starts. He has not turned in his resignation yet this year, so that is a good thing. That is a good thing.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I didn't know how I'd react or like it in the end. When I first started, I was scared to death, but as I go on, I really enjoy this. I enjoy working with these kids, and it is very rewarding to me.
Yeah.
So.
I guess, compared to just being in a shop working with what you're working on now, you've got a lot more involved with people, and so I'm sure that adds a lot of, like you said, reward and just meaning to what you're doing. And
I haven't done this long. This is my fourth year. Mr. Stone was there for forever.
Yeah.
And just even now getting to see some of the kids that I've had my first year out in the community, establishing their life, buying houses, cars, this and that. They've called. Yeah, it's you can't put a dollar figure on that.
Yeah. And that's what's awesome is at High Plains, all our instructors, they're there for much more than just a teaching job. You all are very invested. And even like Mr. Gaines just won the HOSA Advisor of the Year. So it's those extra steps that you all put into our students to make them feel like part of a big family.
Yes.
And so that's awesome.
Yeah, I had yesterday the welding students made some they're for Dutch ovens to cook the chili for today's cook-off.
Kind of like the cast iron, homemade little.
Yes, that's for the Dutch oven. But I had them take some pipe and make us a little pit where we can set the Dutch oven on it and all that. So I try to incorporate students throughout the building and a lot of the stuff we do, and they like it. I mean, a lot of times we go to cook something or do a test, they'll get to come over and taste it, and they kind of enjoy that.
Yeah, that's been neat too with our extra involvement in the leadership stuff this year with Skills USA. And you've got one student that's going, Dane Harris.
Dane Harris is doing the open and closing ceremonies, and then we're headed out Sunday for our Skills USA diesel competition in Tulsa.
And you all don't have a regional contest, right?
No, we do not.
You go straight to the state. And so how do you, how many students are going, and how do you get to choose who goes?
We're each allowed to take 3. So
3.
We're going to take 6 total.
Two post-secondary and 2.
Okay.
Or one post-secondary and 2.
2 secondary.
Yes.
All right.
And on this deal, we just kind of picked them. We're like, you.
Yeah.
And if they didn't want to go, we obviously didn't make them.
Yeah.
At some point, I'd like to get some sort of an in-house competition, maybe to
to
narrow it
prepare
down.
them up, and get them some experience with contests.
The thing with me that I figured out in this education world, the more you do, the more they'll let you do.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I'm talking about High Plains, more so like our diesel. We don't have a regional competition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the reason we don't have a regional competition is because none of us instructors, and I'll include myself, step up to make that happen.
Yeah.
But after, this is, like I said, my 4th year in these shoes, with everything that's going on, I don't have time.
Right.
We do the Western equipment competition, and I think Western throws a lot of money at that deal. They've been treating all the kids extremely well.
Yes. And what it leads to after school is very beneficial.
So we're excited about going and competing. Don't have very high expectations, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And it really does when they haven't had as many opportunities to go to a contest.
No.
And it's a pretty hard pool.
And some of the other programs in the state are, specific to
very narrowed down.
Yeah,
area
Class
of
8
study.
trucks.
Yeah.
And, Jesse's a Ford Master Tech. Well,
that's what I was going to ask. Tell us some of the things you guys work on, the variety. It's not just your heavy duty. You have a little bit of few examples.
We had a smart car in there. We went anywhere from a smart car to we've had a tractor split in half. We're getting one put together now, and
we did an in-frame on an M11 earlier this year.
Yeah. Going to have another one split probably next week.
You've had ATVs in there, little dirt bikes, stuff like that
dirt
as
bikes,
well.
weed eaters. I don't see diesel gas. I see nuts and bolts, and they're all just different sizes.
Yeah. Which I think for the student is awesome because they're getting a very broad range of what they're going to deal with in their future.
Yeah, some of them may not think so at this point, but at some point in their life, they're going to look at that and go, that's just like that little thing on that weed eater that I worked on. It's just 10 times bigger.
Able to connect the dots. Yeah.
Yep.
So on the cook-off, so tomorrow or later today is the regional at Shattuck. So Shattuck FFA is hosting it.
Yep.
And do you know how many teams are going to be there or anything?
The last I heard, which was the end of last week, I think 8 had entered. Kansas, their first cook for the state. They piggybacked off of a barbecue competition, an adult barbecue competition, and they had 12 teams on their first cook. So I'm hoping more than 8 show up.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance because deadline was Monday at noon, I believe, to enter that deal.
Okay.
So hopefully there's more.
So how does it, what are some of the details of how you just are all cooking the same thing? Or?
We're all cooking the same thing. The National High School Barbecue Association is the one that did this, and I think Mr. Kellen basically sanctioned off of that. And so High Plains, we are a charter school, which we have paid our dues to the National Association, which means we can have as many teams as we want at High Plains. So, if the construction class thinks what we're doing is cool and they want to start up a barbecue team, they can do that as well. Any of the classes. The state and national level has already been set. I probably won't go into details on that because I don't really know exactly yet. But at Shattuck, we're doing a pork chop, beef fajitas, a ribeye, chili, and chicken. So, we're going to leave the school, early, get there, set up, get our charcoals going. First meet turns in at 11, last meet turns in at 1, and awards are at 2.
Wow.
Then at the state, I think we'll add some ribs and probably some more smoking deal, but it'll be on a Saturday and we'll have a little more time. We kind of thought this one would be nice to be able to get over there, get it done, where everybody get back home before dark, because the team's traveling in from outside. They may have an hour or 2 drive going home. So
some of your students that are on the team have some of them been cooking out, or are any of them already kind of chefs themselves?
I do have some guys, both team leaders, Justin Fields, Jake Tapia. Justin's a Moreland student, Jake's a Fargo student. Both those guys are kind of the team captains. Both them guys cook at home, pretty handy.
Yeah. So they kind of have their own seasonings they're wanting to use?
Yeah, kind of. I'm sure, Fields, he got some fresh stuff that he's going to bring home from home, and Jake, I think, is the same way. And then, of course, I've got a bunch of stuff. So
that's awesome. I was going to ask you yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is pretty cool. So, and then we're hosting the state.
Yes.
Okay.
In May 11th. We'll have to have some judges.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly. So
yes.
So don't start calling me yet or calling out there yet. But after this, we're going to have to start reaching out and figuring out how that works.
Right. Let's tell them about our ice cream maker, just in case they've never seen it yet or hear them. Let's tell them, we've only got a couple minutes left, but briefly kind of how that came about and now.
I had a bright idea of making a ice cream maker that ran with a 1923 Fairbanks engine and makes 2 5-gallon batches, and I actually had to take it apart end of last week and pull one of the drive gears out and have Mr. Borden TIG up the mandrel on it. It had already wore. It was aluminum.
Is that 3 years of your time now? We've done the
well,
ice
no,
cream?
this be 4, and
you
then
did it from the get go.
Yes, we built it that first year,
right, and then put it in service. Yeah,
I think we've got the Woodward Main Street thing coming up. We're going to do some ice cream with.
Food
I think we've got the rodeo.
Wars. Yeah, rodeo. Beaver County
Beaver
Fair.
County in August. Beaver County come aboard, and so now they're part of the High Plains, I don't know, community
district.
or whatever, district,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it, and so we'll go out and
it's been a very good icebreaker for some of these events that are kind of might be random for us to be at, or you normally would be at a table with some brochures. Whenever you have homemade ice cream, it's
it makes it easy.
Yeah, great conversation piece. Yeah.
You have no
You're
idea how many
everybody's
people
favorite.
walk up and go, I'm lactose intolerant, but I want a cup of that anyways.
Yeah.
So
And I love too the reminiscing from the older gentlemen that are just, they hear that sound and they're talking about their granddads.
That and a lot of the hand crank. I remember hand cranking that.
Yep.
Well, fortunately, my dad made sure I didn't have to hand crank it.
Yeah, taught you other ways to learn. Yep. So that also our multimedia students are some of them making a documentary on that.
Yeah. So me and Jesse went at the front, talked to everybody about buying a shop truck for the class, letting the class purchase a shop truck. So we did. We found an 89. It's an 88. It's titled 88 Crew Cab Chevy Dually. It's on air. We drug it out of the weeds, got it from a local gentleman here. We've got big plans for it, doing diesel swap, wheels, tires, air ride, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're pretty excited.
And so multimedia is going to document that.
I got with Miss Myers and told her what we were doing, and she thought that'd be pretty cool. So she come out and shot film of us loading it, unloading it. We're going to have her shoot film of it while we're building it, working on it as a project, and then that will give them something else to that'll give them something to work on. And be quite honest, a lot of that stuff they kick out is pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. That's what part of my job, it's like social media. It's like I don't have to create the content. It's all around us.
Yes.
So that's what's neat. With you all, we easily have a film crew right there and photographers that can capture all that. So, and speaking of social media, if you're not following us yet, I highly recommend you find us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok now, YouTube channel. We've got podcast, pretty much everywhere. So check us out. All right. Well, thank you, Jayme and Jesse, and good luck today at your contest.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it.